I'm not really good with prayers or anything like that, but I just want to say thank you, Mr. President. And I know we have a political warfare right now, but I strongly believe that it is a spiritual one as well. And I want to make sure that, I mean, I know that Americans are going to wake up and we're going to get back to looking to God instead of social media, and we're going to look back to Jesus, because Jesus saves, and this country was founded upon, the Constitution was built on godly principles, and we're going to fight for that. And I just want to encourage you guys to pray every single day for this nation. I want you guys to pray and pray and pray. I am from Ethiopia. I live in a very beautiful city named Valparaiso, Indiana. Mike Pence, I know you're from Indiana, and I have strong people who are able to raise me, and I love God, and I want to pray real quick. All right. Okay. All right. I don't know if you guys want to bow your head. Okay. All right. Dear God, I'm not really good at this, but I just want to say thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to be in the White House. Thank you for giving us a great leader like Trump, Mr. Donald Trump. And I would like to thank you for waking up our nation. God protect us. God protect our president as he's going through so much right now, so much scrutiny. God, I believe that you gave him to us, and I believe that he's going to accomplish so much more. I know you have more for us. Jesus, I ask you to protect us and walk with us. In Jesus' name, the enemy tries to attack us every single day. He tries to discourage us, but he has no room. He has no room, no more. And that's all I have to say. Oh my God.
We love Saudi Arabia. We love you more.
We love Saudi Arabia. The king is my friend. The crown prince is my friend. There's now the prime minister, crown prince, and everything else. And he deserves to be. But they're great friends of mine, and they're great people. And it's an honor to have so many Saudis. I just spoke to Yasser, and I said, you know, we have so many Saudis today. It's so nice to see that. They love us and we love them, and it's an honor to have you all. Thank you very much for coming.
We are going to be signing numerous countries in the not-too-distant future, so that will be great. While you are on the phone, could I ask you, how is the dam doing in Ethiopia? The largest dam in many, many years being built. Unfortunately, it stops water from flowing into the Nile, which causes Egypt a little bit of a problem, right, as it should. But Ethiopia built a dam. You know all about it probably, Bibi, but I've been dealing with Sudan on that. And I'm just curious, how is that going? Because you're really the third party involved with Ethiopia and Egypt and the dam. Are they working out their deal? Because I had a deal done for them. And then unfortunately, Ethiopia broke the deal, which they should not have done. That was a big mistake. And we've stopped payment to them of a lot of aid. Because they did it, and they will never see that money unless they adhere to the agreement. But they built a dam which stops water from flowing into the Nile, and you can't blame Egypt for being a little bit upset. Yeah, if you would, because I had a deal done, and then they broke the deal, and they can't do that. They can't do that. So the deal was done, and it's a very dangerous situation because Egypt is not going to be able to live that way, and they'll end up blowing up the dam. And I said it, and I say it loud and clear, they'll blow up that dam. And they have to do something.
18 members of the United States House of Representatives, we were joined with them by phone, and the Prime Minister and all of us, members of the Senate, and others who were there, we all rejoiced and embraced each other And that's really significant. The 9 governors had never been together before. They didn't like each other. They'd never been in the same room before. Well, most of the people didn't live in cities, and that made this effort that much more difficult. The vast majority of people who live there are in rural communities, and that made this widespread change and development a longer and more difficult path. In Ethiopia, the tribal factions also played a great role. If you go from province to province, that used to be from tribe to tribe, and they historically have not gotten along until this time. So it made it more difficult because of the factions and all of that, but it worked. We unified them together, and that was unlike anything that has ever happened. One of the governors who was there at the time was named Dr. Abiy. You might remember that name because he's now the Prime Minister of Ethiopia. And I've often said that Dr. Abiy is arguably the most educated, the smartest guy that I've seen in that position in the entire continent of Africa.
The Tigray region in northern Ethiopia is known for its assembly of rock-hewn churches. Sculpted out of sandstone, the most wondrous of these is Abuna Yamataga. There's only one way up. You have to climb this cliff face. Welcome to the world's most perilous church. Once through, you may think you're in heaven, but you've never felt more alive.
كل ህዝቢ ኣብዚ ቤተ ክርስቲያን እዚ ዘይሰግዲ ኣብዚ ቤተ ክርስቲያን እዚ ዘይሳለሚ የለን ብናይ እግዚአብሔር ኃይሊ ስለ ዝኾነ እዩ ትኾም ዝኢሉ ኣብዚ ኮይኑኒዮ ኣብ ሜዳ ከይኸውን ናብ ገደል ተሰቂሉኒዮ ማለት እዩ
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for having this hearing. Thank you for allowing me to participate, although I'm not a member of the subcommittee. This conflict lasted 2 years. 500,000 people died. That's 40 times the number of deaths in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict since October 7th. It is outrageous that this conflict has not gotten more attention in the world. That is not a problem caused by our witnesses here. They're working on it every day. We have a UN Secretary General who outrageously said that what's happening in Gaza is unparalleled. No, what's unparalleled is what happened in northern Ethiopia. We have a number of others in the human rights community who have very falsely said that what is happening in Gaza is massively larger than anything that has happened since 2019. No, it is what we're here to talk about today, and thank you, Mr. Chairman, for having this hearing. There's also a feeling that since we had the Pretoria Agreement in November of 2022, our job is done. I think this hearing has illustrated the fact that that is not the case. I know there's been discussion here about Ethiopia's desire for a seaport. Obviously, we don't change international boundaries almost ever. But I will point out, I believe that Bolivia has certain rights with regard to Chilean ports. There are a number of other circumstances where a landlocked country has the right to use a port and have access to it and to not have tariffs on goods going out or going in. And I would think it'd be a step toward peace if Eritrea would agree not to give up any of its territory, but also not to charge tariffs. Mr. Hamer, thank you so much for coming to my district and meeting with the diaspora there. Last November, I asked Assistant Secretary Fee if the United States would support additional sanctions on Eritrea if they fail to withdraw their troops from Ethiopia. And I asked us particularly sanctions on the president himself. and on mining that goes on in Eritrea? She said yes. It's a year later, and Eritrean troops are still there. What's worse is that they are committing extrajudicial execution of civilians, sexual enslavement of women, and other terrible human rights abuses. So I'll ask you, why haven't we sanctioned Eritrea, its mining operations, and especially its president?
On Wednesday, Blinken met with the Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and other top officials, including leaders from the northern Tigray region. Blinken praised the 4-month-old peace deal that ended 2 years of fighting between government troops and forces in Tigray. He called for accountability for war crimes committed without casting blame on either side.
The conflict was absolutely devastating. Hundreds of thousands killed. Widespread sexual violence against women. Millions forced to flee their homes. Many left in need of food, shelter, medicine. Hospitals, schools, businesses shelled, destroyed. The cessation of hostilities agreement is a major achievement and step forward. Saving lives, changing lives.
During his trip, Blinken announced $331 million in new U.S. humanitarian assistance for Ethiopia. Issue of genocide, Sadala Lema. In late 2021, Blinken said the U.S. would decide whether the crimes committed in northern Ethiopia constitute genocide. The State Department, according to a recent piece in Foreign Policy, the State Department drafted a declaration in 2021 that the Ethiopian government's atrocities in Tigray constituted genocide, according to 3 U.S. officials familiar with the matter, but it never released that declaration.